Hi everyone, welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about Ansible Vault. We will be covering few topics today. We will talk about what is Ansible Vault, some of the use cases and benefits. We will see how to encrypt and decrypt files using Ansible Vault, editing those values, encrypting strings, managing multiple vaults, and rekeying the vault. Before we start, I just wanted to give a quick introduction about Ansible Vault. Whenever you are writing Ansible playbooks, you may sometime need to add sensitive information within your playbook. It could be a database password, a key to connect to an external cloud provider, or it could be another sensitive data. So you can use different secret management tools provided by different vendors. But Ansible by default provides an inbuilt utility called Ansible Vault, which you can use to encrypt variables and files so you can protect sensitive content such as password or keys like I mentioned earlier, rather than leaving them visible as plain text onto your playbooks. To use Ansible Vault, you would need one or more password to encrypt and decrypt the content. We will talk about that in details later. There is a command line utility provided by Ansible. It's called Ansible-Vault, and we can use this to create, view, and list encrypted variables and files. If you see the key features that I have already mentioned, you can encrypt group variables, host variables, and or entire playbooks if you want using Ansible Vault. One thing to note is it uses AES 256 cipher algorithm to encrypt the data. AES stands for asymmetric encryption. One last thing which is very important to note is that it protects data at rest, not data in use. So data at rest means when you have written the playbook, you are storing it in some SCM repository like GitHub or Bitbucket. That's data at rest. That means your playbook is not being used. At that time, Ansible Vault will be useful because it will encrypt your data. Nobody can read it or decrypt it without your key or password. But if your data is in use, that means you are using encrypted variables within your playbook. At that time, because Ansible will decrypt the data before starting the playbook, making sure that you protect your data within your playbook is your responsibility, and Ansible Vault will not help with that. For those kind of things, we can use keywords like no log, true within tasks to hide sensitive data if that's being exposed within our task. Okay, so use case and benefits, I think I've already talked about this. It protects sensitive data in the playbook. It can also be used to secure inventories and variable files. Benefits obviously enhances the security, simplifies the credential management, because you don't have to rely on an external secret manager or credential management tool. It integrates with your existing Ansible workflow, so you don't have to change much. Your playbooks will work as it is without making or requiring you to make many changes. Now, before we continue, I just wanted to show you one diagram. So here you can see that this is Ansible Vault AES. It's using advanced encryption standard, and AES uses symmetric key encryption. So there are generally two types of encryption methods, symmetric and asymmetric encryption. AES uses symmetric encryption. As you can see here, so you have an unencrypted variable file, for example here. We will use vault key using Ansible Vault to encrypt this file using AES 256 key, and then the same key we will use at the runtime to unencrypt or decrypt the file. So essentially it's going to use the same key along the way at the time of encryption as well as decryption. Now what does 256 stands? 256 stands for key length in bits. So we have AES 128 and lower bits keys, but AES 256 is the most secure key as of now. And if I show you one diagram, or rather a table, if you see the key size and possible combination, right now AES 256 has these many combinations possible, so it may take a normal computer millions of years to decrypt it. But as you know that quantum computers are coming into the play, and this poses a big challenge for these kind of encryption techniques because they are capable of decrypting these very quickly. But as of now, these encryption methodologies are quite secure. Okay, so I hope this one is clear now, that Ansible Vault uses symmetric key encryption, and it uses AES 256 encryption standard. Okay, let's move to the next topic. In the beginning, I will just go through the topics that we are going to later on cover in hands-on demo. Quickly, we will see the commands that we would be using, and then I will give you hands-on demos. So for the first topic is how to encrypt files. So very simple, I mentioned earlier, Ansible Vault is the utility that is provided by Ansible. So what we can do is simply type Ansible Vault, encrypt, and the file name. If you want to decrypt it, Ansible Vault, decrypt file name. If you want to edit the file, we will just use Ansible Vault edit and the file name. Then in the advanced topic, if you see how to encrypt strings, because sometimes we don't want to encrypt the whole file, we may want to just encrypt a single string and then later on use that within our playbooks as variable. So for that, you can just use same command, Ansible Vault encrypt string name, secret value, and then the name of the variable with which you want to call that secret. Then we will also talk about managing the multiple vaults, because it could be that you may need more than one vault to decrypt your files. Your one secret could be encrypted with one vault key and the second one would be encrypted with different vault key. Then how you can call multiple vaults, that's what we are going to talk as well. In the end, we will see how to rekey the vault. If you want to change the password for your file, you want to move it to the different key, you can use a flag called rekey and the file name. Okay, let's start with the hands-on demo. I have switched my screen to my terminal and I'm already in my repository for Ansible Labs. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just start the Vagrant. So I'll just say Vagrant up. And it says machine is already provisioned. So if I do Vagrant status, as you can see, my Docker provisioner is already running. Also, I'll share the link to GitHub repository for these hands-on exercises so that you can follow if you want. Let me go to the Ansible Vault lab. Oh, sorry. Rather than that, I will just do Vagrant SSH because we want to run Ansible commands within our Docker container. So let's move to the Vagrant folder because we know that Vagrant is shared. So right now, this is the content of my repository. I will go to the Ansible Vault lab. Right now, we don't have any content. And the first thing we want to see is how to encrypt and decrypt files. So we'll just run the Ansible Vault command and let's first confirm if Ansible Vault is available in my machine. As you can see, Ansible Vault is available and by default it gives you these options, that these are the options we can pass using Ansible Vault. As you can see, positional argument create will create a new Vault encrypted file. Decrypt will decrypt it. Edit, view, encrypt is similar to create, but it will encrypt the existing file rather than creating it. Encrypt string, we can encrypt a single string if you want and use that within as a variable within the playbook. Rekey is to rekey a Vault encrypted file. So that's pretty much the positional arguments for Ansible Vault. And we will just start with the creating a var file. Let's just create a file called wars.yaml. And now it's asking for the password. I'll just give 123. And now it's going to create, open the VI editor for me. And now I can just enter anything I want. Let's say, for example, where one is called VC Tech Talks. Let's save it. The file has been created. If I do ls here, you can see the var file is created. If I open it now, you can see here it's encrypted. Right? So I cannot see the content of the file with my plain eyes. It's encrypted. If you see, it starts with this character. It says this basically means Ansible Vault. This is the version of the Ansible Vault 1.1 versus 1.2. And then this is AES, which is our encryption standard. Now, if I want to see the file content, right? So what we can do is same Ansible Vault, view, and then the vars file. Again, it's going to ask for the password. And now, as you can see, this was the content that I had entered in my file, and I can see it now. Now, if I want to edit it, it's quite straightforward. I can just simply edit it. It'll ask for the password. And now I can add var2. Let's save it. Now, if I want to view it again, I have to provide the password. And now, this time I can see two variables. Now, if I go back to Ansible Vault and I create now if you want to run it, Ansible playbook and then demo1.yaml. Now if we run it like this, it will not work. As you can see, it says attempting to decrypt but no vault secret found. So we have couple of ways to pass the secret. Let me clear the screen. So the very first method is that we pass a flag called ask vault pass, and now it's going to ask for the password. If I give the password, now it could show me the files, right? Where one is VC Tech Talk and where two is thank you. Because I passed the vault password, it could decrypt it and give me the output. The other option is I can pass vault password as a file. Okay, let's clear the screen. Now we want to use the Ansible vault password as a file. So let's go back and create a file. Password file, let's call it, this was the password. And now if I go back here, do ls-ltr, this is the password secret for our variables. So let's run the playbook again, Ansible playbook. And now we want to just run demo1.yaml, and we will use vault password file. And in this case, the location of the password file is in the same directory. So I'm just giving that. And now you can see that it could decrypt it. If I give some wrong path or file name, as you can see, the vault password file was not found. And if I give the wrong password, let's try that. In this case, you can see decryption failed. No vault secret was found that could decrypt on this variable file. Let's go back. So this covers how to encrypt or decrypt a single file. Now, sometimes we need to encrypt strings as well, because it might not be enough to encrypt the whole file. You may just want to encrypt the string, because sometimes if you encrypt the whole file, later on if you want to quickly see what are the content of the files, what is the variable reference name, it becomes very difficult to first decrypt it. Because for example, if I go back here, if this whole file is now decrypted, I don't know my variable is called var1 or var2. This I can only see if I decrypt the whole file, right? In that case, what we can do, we can use this method called encrypt string. So Ansible vault encrypt string and then your secret -- name, the reference name for your secret, you can use this. So let's go back and clear the screen, or maybe I'll just clear it and go down so that you can see it. Right now, if you see Ansible vault encrypt string, my secret password, whatever the secret is, and then the DB password. If I create it like this, right now, if you see how it created. So DB password is your variable name, the reference and the value would be your secret value, which is again using Ansible Vault AES 256 1.1. And now if you copy this and I go back to my playbook, demo1.yaml, and I just say wars and I copy this, right? And now I can maybe call variable 3. I'll be calling my third variable, which is called DB password. So let's call it like this. Let's go back to the playbook and then run it again. Password secret is wrong. I forgot to change it back. Password secret is 123. I will run it again. Oh, sorry. I don't want to encrypt it. Let's run this. Now here you can see that variable 1 is VC Tech Talk. Variable 2 is thank you. These are coming from the file. And variable 3 is my secret password, which was what we encrypted earlier, right? So this is an example of encrypting a string and using it within your playbook as a variable. One more important thing to note here is all of these secrets are safe when they are at rest. That means if we share this playbook with someone, the secrets are safe because they are encrypted. But when we are using it within our playbook, we can echo it. Here I intentionally am echoing it because I want to show it to you as a demo. But let's say you are using it within your playbook to connect to the database. Someone can still see it because if they have access to your playbook logs, they can view the content of your variables. In those cases, what you can do, in this case, it won't even make sense, but we can type like this, no log true. When we add no log true, if we rerun this playbook again, you can see there, I cannot see anything here. Even if I run it with -vvv, you can say the output has been hidden due to the fact that no log true was specified for the result. Because I specified no log true, now I can use variables within this playbook to do whatever I want. and nobody will be able to view the content even if they get access to my playbook logs. So this is very important to note that the variables that we are storing with Ansible Vault are encrypted and safe when the data is at rest. But when the data is decrypted, it's your responsibility to safeguard these variables within your playbook. Now, before we talk about managing the multiple password, if you want to change the variable's key, right? So for example, now I want to change the password for this variable file. So we have two options. One is you decrypt it and re-encrypt it using a new password. Or let's first clear the screen. Or the other option is Ansible Vault rekey option and where's file. Now what we are saying is that the password for where's.yaml for encryption earlier was 123. Now I want to change it. It's first asking for my existing password, which I have already provided. Now I want to give new password. Let me give this. And now you can see the rekey is successful. So what has happened? Key with which this variable was earlier encrypted has changed. Now let's try to run the same playbook using the same password secret. It will not work. Here you can see that it says, hey, I cannot decrypt the content of where's.yaml anymore because the secret doesn't match. So in this case, what we can do is, let me clear the screen. We create another secret called pass2.secret, and this was the password for my pass2.secret. And now I had to pass two secret files, pass1 and pass2. So what happened here? Password file 1 was used to decrypt DB password, whereas password file 2 was used to decrypt the content of where's.yaml. If I remove password secret from here, it will not work. And if I remove password 1 secret from here, it will again not work. Okay, so we have talked about rekeying the vault file, where we have changed the key for the vars.yaml file. Now, sometime you have to create multiple vaults with unique IDs. If you want to separately or specifically label your secrets, you can create your secrets by providing the unique IDs. So now what we are doing is we are creating an encrypted Ansible file called vars1.yaml. But here when encrypting, we are saying vault ID is pass3-secret @prompt. So it's now going to prompt for the password 3 secret, and let's add some random password. Oh, sorry, I added the encrypt. It should not be encrypt. It should be create, because encrypt is if the file where's1 was already there. So, and now it's going to ask for the content of my file. So let's create variable, I don't know, 4. And let's save it. So if you see here, variable 1.yaml got created. If we see the content of variable 1.yaml, you see this one is different. It's 1.2, the version, and the label says passwords 3 secret. Let me open these two YAML files side by side. So now you can see the earlier file that we had encrypted. It says Ansible Vault 1.1 AES 256. Here it is Ansible Vault 1.2 AES 256 with a vault ID label. Now let's say we want to view the content of this file. If we simply run Ansible Vault view where1s.yaml, you can see that we don't have to specify @ or whatever. It prompted for the password and we could see it. So even if you have labeled the variables using vault label, you can simply use the same old method of Ansible Vault view to view the content of the file. Now if you update our playbook, and now if we go back and run this, obviously this will fail because it says, okay, where 4 is undefined because we have not included the file. So let's just include it. Now we have included the file. If we run it again, it's gonna fail because now it says I cannot decrypt where1.yaml. Now in this case, what we can do is simply add another flag called vault ID, and this time the vault ID is password 3 secret. So we'll say password 3 secret, but I don't have the password stored, so I'll say pass3-secret @prompt. Now it's going to ask the password for the third secret. If I run this, now it should work. Here you can see that, right? Variable 1 is VC Tech Talk, variable 2 is thank you, variable 3 is my secret password, and variable 4 is bye. whereas all of these three are using three different password keys, right? So we are using vault ID to identify password 2 hyphen secret, vault ID to identify password 1 secret, and vault ID 3 to identify password 3 secret, but we don't have it stored as a file. So we are asking @prompt. That means it will prompt us for entering the password when we run the playbook, and this way we can use it. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked this video. Please consider subscribing to this channel. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.